constructed on the basis of what Zambia thinks is best for the country. In that program which Zambia developed long before an idea to engage with the IMF came up, one of the greatest emphasis in that program is that whatever negotiation and program agreed upon shall be pro-poor, that the content of the program must always be cognizant that it must be pro-poor. Therefore, strong emphasis on social sectors, health and education, water and sanitation, investments in programs for the poor, social cash transfer. But the government does recognize, Honorable Manakato and the President also, they do recognize that fiscal consolidation, the alignment of the debt profile, and planning for the debt repayments, especially when the Eurobonds are due, are matters that will be of priority. But the Minister of Finance is 26 November has been on budget credibility and principles, an outsider to tell them we've been reduced. Nominal direct investment PP from the private sector in the supporting them. You don't need that. Could the President at the press conference on 15, Alexander Chkwanda presided over a lot of any Monakatwe will inherit what Zambian about the possible problem with fundamentals, that there is a social safety government whatsoever program. State Minister very clear that I want to remind the destination operation advice potential cohorts of the Zambian government cooperation of the sea technology to make, and also is that there is the otherwise that investors are intentions and listed. They've announced on that announcement is to come as committed full of negotiation. It's a matter of negotiation between societies. From where we are seated is that to be consolidation, particularly for it does project that probably the ends of the earth to pursue that out Monakato and all the negotiations on our own environment stable, predictable, legal, cobbled and other means. It's because of the conducive policy and legal framework that is available. KCL that gives us comfort. The other comment on is just to emphasize that fiscal consolidation, as I said, pro-poor development and investment in key drivers of the economy will be what the Minister of Finance will be focusing on, and making sure that the leakages, finance and budget leakages, so to speak, are plugged, and there are no such unnecessary within government. And also to be very systematic, the President has taken major steps to ensure that control of misappropriation of funds, control of misapplication is done in a systematic manner. It's not when you stand on the ante and shout that's when you fight corruption, that's when you fight leakages of finance, that's when you stop misapplication. The President has elevated key officers within government that deals with controls, such as the internal auditor function, the person auditing that position is at the PS level, accountant general, and also he has increased interaction between these key institutions. The Auditor General is talking regularly to the Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet Finance, Secretary to the Treasury, Accountant General, and also that civil servants have been surcharged and punished internally and quietly, because that's what it tells. It's not every offense in government that requires a dismissal of a civil servant, but these things are happening on a daily basis. The President, as he has said, he hopes to see the thickness of the Auditor General's report maybe half to reduced to be below half to what it is, and he has given instructions and the stiff implemented if there is going to government. Sometimes we suffer and misapplication, and other individuals who the controlling officers authorized in a shortest possible time. That also costs 6,000 things that you colleagues of mine can distinguish misappropriate. All those things the President is tolerant. Why you write a program and say we will go for snacks? It's to force and theft. He wants people to take conversations in cabinet publicly, and ministers in the audience, DEC. There is no to interact freely case of any other, and the President practice stand on the ante and corruption. This matter, not that it is a changed ministers around in the realigning government. Yes, there's realignment of staff and function. Confident of the team that is chairing well together, and going forward, he hopes to see great improvements where he has individually spoken to ministers, PSAs, directors, and any other government officials concerned with certain issues where he has not been happy. But generally, the president is frustrated with the pace at which some projects, key projects, are moving. So he wants greater energy, faster implementation, because the longer you take to execute a project, it becomes more expensive. So something very close to all of you, I know in the legislative agenda for the president this year, is that if the consultations between the Minister of Information and the Minister of Justice has been concluded, he wants the Minister of Information to take the action for enactment when it sits. Sitting by blind ministries must be seen of access to Information Act. So let you know, legislative areas of must emphasize this emphasis, see what the ID sport this week. They'll tell you what is taking place. Quite some thoughts and I'll end even clear before building dams with aerodrome sector and independent. Our investment in the power sector, the biggest ever investment in the power sector, has been done under this president. There is the fuel lower gauge, there's maybe roughly $5 billion of investment in the last 3 years that President Lungu has been in office. And these are ongoing, and it's in a diversified form of power in energy, solar, wind, hydro, critical energy mix. And also there's an interest now for investment in nuclear technology. But all the projects that are running will have to be implemented, completed, reach a certain stage before new ones are authorized. Because I said it is a conversation, I'll leave my introductory remarks there, and then I can take questions randomly. Yes.
Like I said my question is on reshuffles, which are some political players have raised eyebrows, especially in the Ministry of Finance. It is believed that Honorable Manakatwe will run that ministry under the budget, which is believed to have been prepared by somebody else.
Yeah.
And some individuals, or can I say political players, are suggesting or advising that there is need for her to do something or to redo it. And do you think it is good for the budget to be redone? And the other thing, some people believe that Honorable Mutati was moved to another ministry because he failed to deliver in that ministry, and they are saying it was going to be better to drop him completely if he failed in that ministry, especially that is not.
One, it's a constitutional matter to do the budget. The budget is done prescribed at a particular date prescribed in the constitution. You cannot redo the budget. Honorable Manakatwe is a member of cabinet, so his honorable budget was a Manakatwe will preside whatsoever. What you require, that's the prerogative of the president, and he has exercised here with 93.1 of it. I think I was reading the newspaper yesterday. No problem with the changes that have been made.
Amos Chanda from Times of Zambia is my name. His Excellency the President, having said he was in possession of information that some were plotting for regime change in Kenya, South Africa, and Zambia. So far, this has obtained in South Africa, and we see what's happening in Kenya. And last week, an opposition official is on record as having said he would raise a motion of impeachment in the next sitting of Parliament. I wanted to find out what the position of the presidency is on that matter. More so that he himself said that he was aware of such as motives, if I may put it that way.
Yeah, the futility of that motion of no confidence of impeachment is just exactly what it is. The president has a comfortable working majority in Parliament, so those who want to exercise their democratic right as political Gadanzas can proceed. Quite clearly, the defeat of such a motion is assured. It's as sure as it is that the sun rises from the east and sets in the west. The credible police alternatives that will pursue our problem. I'm sure those were government excellency that would, because of the efforts, which I think that the government in place declared on that satisfied with a democratic transition and operate and tell Zambia and other countries associated with this thing. Go to the ends of the earth. If it doesn't come, we continue as we are. Obviously, it will increase Zambia's perception among bondholders and those who do business at the high level, micro level, those who lend money to Zambia. If it does not come, like it has not come today, the economy will continue running like it is running. We are cutting expenditure on many other things and making sure that it is directed at key programs that will add to narrowing the social inequalities, income inequalities, putting more money in schools. Let me tell you this, and again, if the private media doesn't write it, I think the public media, you have an obligation. There has been a phenomenal improvement in the education sector as a result of the deliberate investment programs that President Michael Sata ordered into the education sector, which President Lungu increased in the 2015 budget. And the best performing schools at the end of the current year, when the grade 7 results were announced and grade 9 results, are national technical schools. National technical schools are government schools, but there is massive investment there. Ndora Girls, DK and what, those were the best performing schools. It did not come as an accident. It's because of that investment. The second tier in there were granted schools by mission. These were the schools in the categories where the IMF program money in school program. Unfortunately, the governments in the Nordic countries and the UK, for instance, the UK country with huge sectors, and you need to improve the program. That program is unacceptable. An issue on the borrowing plans, the alignment. So this engagement, because we are also a shareholder in the IMF, the program comes well and good, and in government it can be, but I trust if I say as to whether the IMF, because we have anchored their conditionalities, remove subsidies in the fuel sector, we have removed the agriculture sector, we have removed. The president that the IMF program must proceed if it must, but the engagement will be on equal terms. That is the beauty about this program, that it is going to be entered into without any pressure from any. This is on record. The aspect which is off record is that there is robust debate as to whether we need it. Yes.
That's a right that this question. The response that the IMF is raising regarding the possibility of Zambia defaulting on loans because of the high indebtedness. It was something that was running on wire yesterday.
Yes.
And then the people on the refugees and His Excellency is engaging with the diplomatic corps. What has been the mobilization today? Because I know only you can came forward and they pledged for general.
Well, I can tell you that the Economist Intelligence Unit, which did not which did not write a lot of love stories about Zambia. If you read it, the latest one, it does refer to decreasing levels of debt. It does make that point very clear, that the levels of debt is decreasing, and it foresees robust GDP growth, maybe rising to 5 to 6%, 2018, 2019, 2021. That's the Economist Intelligence Unit. And it projects this budget stability going forward. It projects a rise in copper prices, projects a rise in copper production. But most importantly, it does take note that the debt level is going down. Now, the reduction in debt is a result of measures taken in a very short period of time. Within this year, the contraction of debt will be done only when it is necessary. So, given what I have seen in the economic plan, I think that there will not be a phenomenal increase in debt. I foresee a decrease. There is no sensible parameter whatsoever upon which you can project a default. I don't foresee a default. Zambia's bonds are due in, I think, in 2022. That's when they are due. Measures are being put in place. What Honorable Mutati began to work on to create a fund where the debt servicing for redeeming of the bond, sinking fund, yes, that will be actualized within this year. And there is no possibility of default whatsoever. We are watching the numbers. Those loans were obtained by government, competent cabinet. We watch those numbers. There is no possibility of default. Bondholders in Europe, America, and Asia, and everywhere can be assured that is not something that will occur under the watch of the president. He watches these numbers regularly. He's been briefed by ministers. We are planning in the census. We will know exactly the GDP ratio, debt ratio. We are within the international accepted ratio. In the new projection, the planning for the census is underway. Minister Chitema is looking at the numbers. There's a competent cabinet, that I can tell you. I sit in there and I see these ladies and gentlemen. This is not a banana republic where you can get a loan and default. It's run by credible people and educated for that matter. The beauty about the PF is that it's underestimated. Now I'm talking a bit of politics. Maybe that's why it succeeds. Because you think there are no people who can handle this, and when they have handled it, they are on cloud 9, you are on 1, and then you realize that's wrong. No, there is a credible economics team, both Bank of Zambia. There is close interaction between monetary and fiscal policy. There is tandem. The president is confident with his team, very confident with the Bank of Zambia governor is doing a fantastic job in terms of presiding over monetary policy. There's a competent team at the ministry, at the treasury, where they are competently handling the fiscal policy. So the interaction between fiscal and monetary policy is what tells you that the whole government is pulling in one direction. If there is discord between fiscal and monetary policy, then you have a problem. But the two teams at the Reserve Bank and at the Treasury are working in tandem and working very hard. That's why there is even a relaxation in the policy ratios, if you've seen. There's been a relaxation and the liquidity is improving. In this year, barring the rain season going bad anytime, I think that the focus that we have been given again is that the fears we had 2 weeks ago are totally different. There will be a reasonable harvest. Therefore, it puts down the possibility of prices going up because of the staple food. The harvest will not be probably as good as last year, but with the coming of the rains back online, I think that things are looking up. Yes. Yes. Oh, refugees. The refugees, the problem is worsening. We are in excess of 15,000 refugees from the DRC alone, and it's putting a lot of pressure on the Treasury. The President has issued another appeal, not publicly, but privately to major donors, and there's a conversation going on. The European Union, the American government, particularly the American government, have promised to scale up their support towards that. I think that there will be an announcement by the Minister of Home Affairs again, a special committee chaired by Honorable Kankyongo, committee of ministers that has been put in place to establish a refugee camp, because with the swelling numbers, we think that this problem will be with us longer than we thought. So yes, the problem is worsening because the numbers are worsening. We anticipate them to stay longer than we thought. An appeal has gone out again to the international donors and the refugee actors, humanitarian actors, to do more to stem the tide against the influx. Yes, sir.
The visit by the President from Congo DR, I suppose that, can I say, who initiated this visit? Is it from this end or the other side? And will it also focus on the political crisis in that country, looking at the crisis being the major challenge I think they're facing that side?
Yeah, the president is the incoming chair of the organ on defense and security for SADC. The president also is the deputy chair at the moment, but in their parlance they say incoming chair. They don't have a terminology that refers to deputy. So he's the incoming chair of the organ. So I suspect that President Kabila will brief his counterpart on the political situation in the Congo, on the timetable for elections, and the ongoing dialogue led by the Catholic Church within that country. President Kabila requested that he visits his counterpart here, and that request was granted.
Yes, Joseph from CPC TV. Taking you back, we've seen a continued trend in fuel increase under the PF administration ever since the administration decided to remove subsidies on fuel. And there was a talk on crunching a deal with Saudi and Sudan. Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Yes, Saudi Arabia. I wanted to get an update. How far has the deal gone? Are we seeing that bearing fruits?
Yeah, the quantums, the figures involved, I think the first allocation was a $20 million revolving fund. The ministers have been discussing with their counterparts in Saudi Arabia to adjust the amount so that it's bigger, so that if that comes to fruition, it has an impact. $20 million revolving fund alone was not going to have sufficient impact. So there's a debate, discussion to raise the revolving fund allocation to a higher figure so that I foresee that thing coming anytime soon. The Permanent Secretary and the Minister of Energy, they briefed the President about the matter last week. The liberalization of the fuel petroleum sector safeguards the country against abrupt shocks in the sector, because it is now the price is a function of international pricing and also the exchange rate. I think in this case it's a function of international pricing that moved that. The ERB will every 60 days adjust that. I think that they may make an adjustment earlier than 60 days, depending on these conditions, mainly exchange rate and international pricing. So it is not entirely true that the prices have been skyrocketing. There have been times when they have adjusted downwards, but it's a function of these two parameters. Yes, so
Professor Gambari, sometime last year, he was saying the talks between the governing party and the opposition commenced in February. Has the Commonwealth been in touch with the government?
Yes, the Commonwealth has been in touch with government. We advised Professor Gambari to stay behind, to delay the coming, his return in February, because we are dealing with very crucial issues of the cholera thing. So we thought that because these engagements will require gatherings and several meetings, and because there were restrictions on meetings and whatnot, that played a part in the delayed return of Professor Gambari. I can confirm to you that the Commonwealth have spoken to me, and they've told me that they have also spoken to the opposition. And Professor Gambari, I can't give you the timetable, but he will be returning very soon to commence the processes with a composition of what is calling the National Peace Council, and he's got some structures. When he announces that, then the processes start. Is that a hand I saw there?
Yes. Why do you borrow money
Yeah, we are a shareholder, and it's a concessional loan, and it's I think it's either 1% or below 1%. So the existence, the IMF was created as an institution to help member states that require budget support. And by the way, it's actually not borrowing money. The IMF does not actually balance of payment support. It's to help, the money there is concession. Yes. Yeah, about 7. of the copper price. The copper price coin picked up stones, piled up stones to stone some people. That is a debate for another day. Is exactly just that. Mopani will be retiring. So Concora copper mines are assured that they will be getting more revenue. This is the beauty of an open, free market economy. Government, you may sometimes have to allow companies to shed off labor in order for you not to kill the goose that lays the egg. If you insist to a mining company that has 100 workers and says because of the economies of scale, because of the situation, we've got to retrench 2 so that we remain with 8, so that we don't close the mine. If you insist on keeping those 10 workers and the mine closes, there will be no 10 jobs anyway. So sometimes you have to allow the market to play out on its own. When the fundamentals are back online like it is, the rehiring of labor begins. And I can tell you, I don't know the numbers, but I can see the trends. I can see the labor reports that are being submitted, that the mining companies are beginning to rehire people again. But I can tell you also that there is progress being made in those workers that were retrenched. Some of them have given up on mining because they've gone back to the land, and government is facilitating opening up of farming blocks. So the choice is theirs, those who want to come, but I think some of them are getting on with their lives. This is a function of a free market economy, that you move. There's a full movement of labor from one sector to another. So the prospects for the mining sector are very, very bright. If, yes, Anna?
For me, just taking back to the tourism sector, I am aware that the government is not obligated to develop the tourism sites across the country, but just create an enabling environment for the private sector to come in and invest in these tourism sites. There was a complaint by some wildlife authorities in Kansanga National Park that it needs rehabilitation. So I just wanted to find out, is government really putting in enough effort to really create an enabling environment? Is it that, why is it that the private sector is not really attracted to invest in developing these tourism sites?
Yeah, road tourism is because tourism is a priority sector, the government is likely to go beyond its normal expectation, because government wants to stay out of business as much as possible. It wants to create an enabling environment. But because tourism is one of the front line sector that government wants to use to revitalize livelihoods and improve livelihoods in rural Zambia, government is obligated to put much more in the sector. For instance, roads, yes, it's a function of government to do that. But under the new plan where the minister is trying to open up new areas, I think that key basic infrastructure, for instance, airports are being developed in the tourist sites in the north. Roads leading to major tourist destinations are being rehabilitated, which is why sometimes we have seen huge sums of money spent on the road where ordinarily you don't see much economic activities, but those roads are opening up to tourism centers. All I can say, it's a major priority. One point I can emphasize other than tourism, just to tell you the confidence, international business confidence in the country, that the oil exploration process in the north of the country has entered the second phase. They've finished the first phase where they were doing the aerial flying and surveys, and they are going now to geological mechanism. They are drilling down there. That is by Taro Oil from the United Kingdom in the north of the country. It has moved into the second phase, and they will be reporting to the president on the progress. Again, the prospects that they might find the product are very high. I cannot share more than what the executive vice president of Taro Oil told me when he came to give a short executive brief on the process. As you know, it's because of the sensitivity of that industry that they promised themselves that they will be giving executive briefs to the president regularly. He told me that as Staro Oil, where they go, if the good Lord has put it in the soil, they always find it. That's what he told me. That was last month. But he said that they have gone to phase 2 now. They've stopped the area surveys. They are now drilling. And so these in the economy, which exploration to come and put huge sums of money in seas, that's an expression of confidence. We than borrowing another party. These things that gentleman was no need for next economy is being expressed through these. When they attend CEOs, number 1, rule number 2, remember rule number 1. And they remember they were first and second. Yes.
Simjana from Fund indicated how much the CEC.
I think I can call you later. Yes, I have a figure, but I don't want to press on record the wrong figure. It's millions of dollars. Yes, they are issuing an IPO. It's in millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. But I'll give you a specific figure. Yes, Chris.
What does the structuring of the Chinese debt involve?
What it involves is that the Zambian government will directly get money through Chinese banks rather than through contractors, because what has been happening is contractors have been arranging the financing. So as a result of that, if you like, the contractors are middlemen. As where you have middlemen, middle women, the prices of things go up. So the restructuring means that the repayment terms will be longer, and also that they will be getting direct. And also that most of the projects will be partnerships rather than direct commercial ones. So it gives government room. Therefore, the debt servicing figures go down, and therefore there is room for servicing other things.
Yes. This is Richard from FM. I wanted to find out, now that street vending is a thing of the past in Zambia, what is the destiny for the main street vendors, especially those that have not been accommodated? Maybe a right on that city market, those that were taken there are soaking, the roof has not been well done. What is
the medium long-term plan is, one, to build 2 markets. The one has already been guaranteed by a mining company. They are going to build a market that will take in as many as 23,000 traders. It will be a double-story building. Then there will be 2 markets within that same area. That is a long-term vision. The short-term is that the new trading place, as announced by Honorable Mwane, has been set up. It will be properly sheltered, and those traders will be put there. I can tell you the figures. We removed 8,000 vendors from the streets. The market being built is 23,000. So it's a question of people getting used to doing correct things. If the bus, those of you who have lived in England, Australia, the time bus says it will arrive at 10:06. You can't say it left me when I just came at 10:08. It says 10:06. Trading places are trading places, so people will get used. It's a tough decision the president had to take, but the long-term view is that the streets of Lusaka, now, medium-term and long-term view will remain the way they are. The statutory instruments will continue to be issued by the ministry responsible, but those streets will remain as they are. As we improve on the trading places, another market in Kitwe by another mining company as a matter of corporate social responsibility is being done. So all these traders will be taken to markets. When we all become disciplined and you leave this place, the thing that will come up in your mind, if you don't want to go to ShopRite, you go to Soweto or City Market. You can't venture and want to go and buy oranges. That's a rule to wash. The post office is received, not to go and buy. When we used to these things, we believe like normality over time, it becomes things are being done. And those who are so this committee of ministers is still working on involved to help cushion those who have been taken, but it's for the long term of ministry every year. And the same. So that's where we are.
Make a quick follow up. Distance in policies in Zambia was that
prompt for my head of state or that state. It was prompt that we have fiscal and mining or otherwise is alive. So, you know, the heaviest framework that is in place, total royalty tax was bet, I think, being gotten out of the mining sector, 20% with sliding scale formula. The tax in 2024, I think that when he reached, those who worked with him in government and him flying from the but he was pro.
Tell it again. Our record the trap. The panel aside the trap. And what do you tell somebody who entertains us right now?
That's why it was in the debt trap. And assuming the IMF package of one deal with the debt trap. So if the IMF willing regards created for that very paper budget profile is sustainable. There has never been 40. We cannot raise money being put in public toilets and to pay off. I would say to put back from Tafa when they fought with them, the hotels and their street vendors, and in order to raise money to service debt. Debt service, the priorities of government workers, services, national security is over. If you people are Bemba, they will tell you. The text was, yes, we are helping you to raise money to build. It has been very successful. Enumerate in the way lunch. All these things is the resources you are raising, but don't deplete even. So it was a important statement. That was actually a strong statement. And over this matter, you have to have less than half the people say, in fact, I'm royalty. Me, I'm Bem language. That's where you learn your language. So even that you learn your language from your kept telling
some of these idioms are not.
And just to emphasize that, I was reading in one of the newspapers, I have prejudice about just the politicians. That they can actually do this still, and then he will tell you public. He was intelligent that we can do that and tell you public. So Shishua was actually like, what does it say now say? It was actually what the president was saying in Chwom. We voted you out, we'll vote you out again. So you can report that, but you can't report voted us out. Oh yeah, you did in 2015, but you did again in 2016. Meaning, the people using this just to say, look, powders in the entire article, sure. But at least I'm not